Welcome back for another short story analysis, this time on the book The Count's Castle by Susan Hood, illustrated by Tom Lee. This is a gothic vampire story where the illustrations do the heavy lifting of the storytelling and world building. From the very cover we see the titular character of the Count beckoning from a darkened doorway. A mysterious fair-haired figure, disturbingly similar to the Count, looks out of a window, while across the front of the castellated domicile, a profusion of bats take wing. Upon opening the book, we are transported inside. Several aspects of dreamlike magic surrealism grip us. Daylight and blue sky are visible out a window that did not exist when observing the front facade from the outside. The aforementioned bats can be seen flying off into that bright day sky, contrary to their well-known nocturnal nature. More unsettling, the blonde figure in the window is just a portrait of an ancestor of the Count. This is an important world-building revelation. In this story, the Count's vampirism is hereditary as much as his title. The traits of fangs and bat-like ears are passed from generation to generation as much as the distinguished nose and unusual complexion. This is bore up by the next page as two more portraits of aristocratic ancestors bearing these telltale vampiric traits are also displayed. The surreal nature of the vampire's domain continues with an anthropomorphic car reminiscent of Stephen King's Christine. Here, the illustrator gives us a clear sign of foreshadowing with the scroll that the vampire Count is holding. Also, in the intimate setting of the vampire's bedroom, suits of armor are displayed. This vampire does not seem to sleep in a coffin, but rather in an anachronistic canopied bed that is, as much of the furniture in the home is, having a bat motif. We have seen a bowl of fruit earlier in the entryway of the home, and in the kitchen, another bowl of yellow fruit, possibly grapefruit, can be seen. The clock on the wall appears to be at 11:45. We could assume in the AM. However, the window reveals pitch black and a thunderstorm, in contrast with the bright day we saw earlier.
Now, in the text, it does say evening. Therefore, we can assume this is late at night. However, the whole premise is that there will be food at the end of the counting, which means this entire time the guests have been going hungry.
We come to wonder, what sustains this vampire? Is it possible that the fruit in the house is for him? Could the bats be fruit bats instead of insectivores, as most bats are? I have a theory that I will share at the end. The decor tells us more of the lineage of the Count. While most of the portraits seem to have Victorian and even 17th century influence, the medieval coat of arms and even a Roman Caesar-style bust suggest his lineage is ancient in origin. This succession of generations suggests a long line of vampires. This succession of generations suggests, though long-lived, vampires of this narrative are not immortal. It is also a point of interest to see that the clock is at 9:55. Without clear linear time, we may have either just passed into evening or, more disturbingly, spent the whole night into the morning inside the vampire's castle.
There is the possibility that one or more of the clocks are stopped around the house. However, that doesn't make sense with someone who is so fixated on numbers being in charge of the house.
The climax of the story has the party that entered the Count's domain rewarded by the vampire. What has given this vampire pleasure, and what I believe sustains him, is the psychic energy exerted by numerology. Instead of sanguine or soul-devouring vampire, this one is wholly fed by the act of counting. This is an interesting take on the superstition that a pursuing vampire may be delayed by scattering a large quantity of small objects in its path that it will be compelled to count. In this narrative, instead of that trait being a flaw, it is an advantage, as the Count is not considered a threat by the surrounding community and is accepted by his neighbors, along with a number of people, animals, and literal monsters. In the concluding pages, we are again confused because now light streaming from inside the castle and from its exterior lamps out into the world that is either in the blue of evening or the indigo of pre-dawn This enigma of time while inside the Count's castle is one of the mysteries of the book that will continue to haunt readers without resolution. Thank you for watching my April Fool's literary analysis of The Count's Castle. If you enjoyed this or any of my other content, please comment, like, subscribe, and we will do this again soon. Goodbye.